So, today I'm going to be doing the self-worth survey, and I'll go over some main points, I'll go over some types of students, I'll go over why it's important to me, why it's important for people to know, and honestly, I do think self-worth is something that we all need to talk about and realize it's an important thing on um, young students and high school students and even like college students. Like, it's an important thing to know. And so I'll talk about right now as a whole what the self-worth theory is. And so people naturally strive for self-worth. They strive it from their peers, from their teachers, from their mentors, from their parents. Um, and so as a human, you will do anything to protect that self-worth, to do anything to make sure, oh, I hope they like see me as a positive person, as a I'm not a failure type of person. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of hard not to do as naturally because I know everyone does it. Like, it's not like you don't go, oh, like I'm the best person, or hey, like I don't fail at anything. Like, it happens, but I mean, as a kid, as a teenager, as a young adult, it's hard to accept failure. But realistically, how it all starts is with schools. So schools value and reward academics. So if you get an A, oh yeah, you get the gratitude, like, oh yes, like I did good, like it's awesome. But and so that's how students base their self-worth. So they go, oh, I'm academically good, like I'm so good at this, like it's awesome, like it's what they base it off of. Because if you look, it's like, so say Sally got an A and Devin got a B, the B is not going to talk about the A. Like, they're going to go, oh yeah, like I got an A too. Like, he might lie about it and say, oh yeah, like, so he can keep his self-worth up to his peers and be like, oh yeah, I'm the same, I'm smart as like just like you, like I didn't get a lower grade, and he won't talk about it usually, but you know. So there's four types of students. So the first type of students is success-orientated students, and so these guys, they value like high expectations. They do what they can to make sure they meet those expectations, and they really want to succeed. But they really do not care what other people think about their success. They could care less. So they don't really depend on that kind of self-worth, but they go, I have more self-worth for myself. I don't need it for my peers. But a second type is overstrivers. So these guys have high hopes for success, but they have a very big fear of failing. Like, they hate it. And so some examples, like you can see in students, like students cheat, they memorize what they're going to say, like from an outline reading. They're very detail oriented. And I can really relate to this, is because I'm like that. I have a speech impediment. I kind of grew up with it, but I got used to it. Took excuse me. Took me the longest time to realize, oh, I shouldn't care what other people think. Like, I know I got this reading disability. Like, I know, like, it's hard for me to not talk so fast and read things out loud so people can understand me. Like, it took a lot out of me because I always was like, oh, I really don't hope they make fun of me because of this. Like, I really hope, like, I get what I need to get done. Like, so I memorized everything in detail and I knew everything I had to read. But there's a third type, and it's failure avoiding. So these guys, they have the biggest fear of failing, just like overstrivers, but they have no high expectations. And so these guys like make excuses. They sit in the back of the class. They have really bad procrastination, and I mean, it's hard not to have procrastination because I have it really bad. But I always try to raise my hand and talk about stuff, but these students are usually like kind of high school students, middle school students. They don't want to be made fun of their peers. And so they do whatever they can to make sure they don't fail in front of people. But if they really don't, oh, I got this A, I mean, I got this C, sorry, but they got this A, like, I'm not going to mention it. Like, I mean, I failed, but like, I really didn't have high expectations. And so the fourth and final one is failure of accepting. So these guys neither accept, so they don't have failure and they don't have success. They don't approach it. And so they kind of like helpless learning. Like, I mean, they don't go, oh, like, I really don't, like, I don't care if I succeed. Like, I, like, accept my failure. Like, they're kind of the kids that you go, they don't really care about themselves. I mean, that's hard to say because, you know, you want kids to care about themselves. You want them to be motivated in learning, like you want them to have it, but sometimes it's just not there, and their self-worth is so low that it's hard for them. um so to wrap it up and to say why it's so important and why it affects me is because, so growing up I had no self-worth. I was a little kid and I was made fun of a lot. I wore glasses all the time, and it was hard for me to accept my self-worth. And especially because I was good at academics, but I was kind of like bad. I mean, I ever saw everyone getting A's and I was getting B's or C's, and it was hard for me as a person, as a kid. And I was like, it took me so long until probably my senior year of high school, going into my freshman year of college. Like I just had to make sure people saw me as perfect. Like I had to not show my failure. But I think it's important for teachers to know this series because you should see it in your students and you should try to motivate them to have more self-worth. Like, go, oh yeah, like you did really good. Like, I mean, we can try to do better. Like, it's okay. Like, it's okay to fail. Like, teachers need to tell their students that it's okay to fail because you don't learn if you don't fail. And so, but that's the wrap up of my discussion on self worth theory. I hope you guys enjoyed it.